Hello folks, and welcome into TK Power Sports. This is the Polaris Ranger XP Kinetic, and it is expensive. That is definitely one of the biggest downsides to this all-electric side-by-side is how much it costs. But is it worth it? That's the real question, and that's what I want to find out right now. So in this video, we're gonna load up that bed with Payload, we're gonna put this thing to work, we're gonna go rock climbing, and then we're gonna find the mud, and I will tell you if you should really consider an all-electric side-by-side. Make sure you stay tuned. Let's start with the electric stuff. So this thing packs a 29.8 kilowatt hour battery pack. And rather than say all the numbers, I'll just list all the charging numbers and times right here for you. Safe to say on level 1 charging, yeah, it's about an overnight charge, a little bit longer. On level 2 charging, we'll recharge fully overnight, no problem at all. And I think that's one of the big selling points. You want to feel like you can plug it in when you go to sleep and wake up and have a full charge. And definitely on level 2, you absolutely will. Now, outside of the electric stuff, this thing is all Polaris Ranger XP 1000. So you got your big bumper up front, nice aggressive set of X-Terrain tires from Pro Armor, dual A-arm suspension in the front and the rear with 12 inches of suspension travel, and of course the fully dumping bed back here. It can dump from either side, which is nice. It does have a gas assist shock to help lift it up as well. Now, when you're talking capacity on your bed, you can see on the handy dandy sticker up here, 1,250 pounds of capacity here in the bed, and we're about to put that to the test right now. Now we are loaded up, everybody. So that is 12 rubber mats weighing 96 pounds apiece. So yes, it's over 1,100 pounds. So we're not quite at max, but we are right there. We're really gonna push this thing. So I'm gonna start off in turf mode, low range, forward, and drive modes in standard mode. And yeah, let's see what it feels like. Here we go. So first thing right off the line there, I giggle because it's crazy how hard this thing still accelerates. Even fully loaded, if I really mat it like this, it's ridiculous how much low end torque and power is there. Like, that is nuts. There is no gas side by side that would be able to do exactly that with this load. And that's of course the advantage of being all electric. You just get 100% of the torque right away. So when it just simply comes to like moving the load, the power is way more than enough, way more than you're ever going to need. Now, when it comes to suspension, the rear end is maxed out. I can feel that there's nothing left back there. When I'm going over bumps, it's absolutely stiff in the rear end. Now, the one thing though that isn't here, which I usually come to expect, is a bit of that floaty feeling, like going around corners. Wow, so we recently were testing a Can-Am Defender Max, and we loaded that thing up too, and a Kawasaki Ridge Crew, and both of those big side-by-sides had this tendency to roll through the corners when they were fully loaded. This Ranger is staying incredibly flat. One more here. It's really impressive, actually, how it is controlling this load. Now, it's not the most comfortable because the rear end is stiffened up, and I can feel that. But outside of that, the handling doesn't feel very compromised at all. In fact, the front end, I know it's sitting up high. I know those wheels have less weight on them, but out here, running down a trail like this, honestly, don't even feel it. Like, I go to turn, and it just immediately turns in. I'm impressed. That's actually wild, how good it's handling a max payload. Now, there is one thing I'll complain about, and I felt this earlier, so I'll stop here and I'll take it out of turf mode. We'll put it up into four-wheel drive. And so one of the things that does is it just locked up the rear differential, and the rear end of this thing has all the weight on it right now. So the problem becomes when you go around a corner, I'll try to take this one a bit wider, Yeah, right away you feel it. It does not want to turn because all that weight is on that rear locked axle, and so that's not letting it go around a corner. You can see a shot here. I did a tight little circle over in the field. So this is in turf mode, and it turned nice and tight, and then this is in four-wheel drive. I couldn't even make the turn without having to back up because I ran into some brush. So that is something to be aware of. In four-wheel drive with this much weight on the back, you absolutely compromise your handling. But I'll put it back down into turf mode now, take off again, and right away that feeling is gone. It feels like it wants to turn and do exactly what I want it to do. So therefore, you know, maybe you don't want to load up this much weight and take it on a really tight technical trail. But for stuff like this, and this is actually a pretty gnarly trail too, but for stuff like this, the one-wheel drive, otherwise known as turf mode, is doing an excellent job. Oh, we just found the clearance level in the back. We have a hitch out there. I'm pretty sure that was the hitch hitting, but of course the hitch is sitting way closer to the ground than it normally is too. So most of the things I expected are here, but yeah, I'll say the thing I didn't expect was just how tight and confident the handling still is. Oh no! And we lost the rubber mat out the back. Well, good thing we're on private property here, folks. Ooh, the back end feels way lighter now. Let's go pick up some mats. All right, folks, well, we reloaded them. And before you yell at me, internet, yes, these are our own private property trails. Normally, I'd put a strap on something like that, but I slapped it and said, that's not going anywhere. So I figured it was good, but here we are. Anyways, back to the Ranger. I can just sum it up, which is that, yeah, if you're doing heavy work at or near the limit, you're not going to have an issue with power, and you're barely going to have an issue with suspension. Just that turning radius and four-wheel drive. But outside of that, this thing is, it's definitely living up to its name as a utility-focused unit. But now let's go strip the weight out of there, and let's see if it's any fun. And now for the after action report, folks, and it's not good. We broke the bed here on this Ranger. You can see there's one steel bar that runs back here underneath this plastic, and it bowed right up right here. So it's way out of whack now. This bed wall is sort of leaning out a little bit. And then of course the tailgate doesn't even come close to closing now. So yeah, the bed wasn't happy with this load. So let's talk about it. I mean, on the one hand, we were not over the bed's capacity. So therefore, I didn't overload it. This wasn't broken by overloading. However, it was a weird load, right? We got these big rubber mats. They're leaning up against this bed wall. So a lot of the weight is pushing directly out against the bed wall, and that's going to cause your bottom to come up here. Now, one of the other things is the fact that it felt so good had me pushing it a little harder. I was like, oh, this actually feels good on trail. I can do a whole loop of my property here, not at crazy speeds, but at decent speeds. So then you combine all of this weight pressing up against the wall with the constant bouncing and jostling of, going through the ruts and around the property. And yeah, we ended up like this. And it's unfortunate. What can I say? I mean, if you load anything up to near max capacity, it's probably at risk of breaking. So I'm, happy to take some of the blame here. But yeah, I just feel like that shouldn't happen. And the one thing I notice is, this bed is all plastic wrapped around a steel frame. So therefore, all the weight along this bed wall, it wasn't being put into, multiple pieces down below or into a solid floor that would have spread the load out. It was putting all that weight into that one rear piece of steel, that one rear cross member. And obviously it was too much weight and it compromised it. So now you guys see what happens when you load up over 1,100 pounds of rubber mats into your Polaris Ranger. So I guess on the positive side, it felt really good and it did the job. But on the negative side, it did break. Sorry, Polaris. And now, folks, into the mud. So I'm in low range, four-wheel drive. Let's see if we can't just creep through here. Really nice so far. Nice and slow and controlled. Haven't needed any momentum. Haven't really felt any slip either. Very nice, Ranger. That is exactly what you want coming through there. If you can come through that mud hole super slow, that's just telling you that the tires have all the traction that they need and they're able to pull you through. Now let me turn around here on this hill. because this is actually another great opportunity to talk about the silence of an electric off-roader. So this time, I'm not gonna say a dang word coming through here, and just listen. It's so cool. Like, I'm not used to this yet. I come through this mud pit and you just hear the tires squishing through the mud, the water rushing out of the way. It's really neat to be able to hear that stuff. So I'll shut up. Just listen to this soundtrack. Very nice, Ranger. Very nice. There's another cool difference here I want to show you, and it has to do with the shifting. So the shifter here, you have high, low, neutral, park. That's very standard, but then you get this little rocker switch for forward and reverse. So once the vehicle is in high range, then you can pick reverse by hitting the rocker, and sure enough, we're moving back. But what I really like is to go back into forward, reach up, hit the rocker. You don't even have to come to a complete stop, and suddenly you're in forward. So it is really nice to be able to switch from forward to reverse that quickly, that seamlessly. And there aren't too many applications where this is gonna be a big deal, but the one where it's gonna matter a lot is with plowing snow. If you have a snow plow on the front and you're used to any other side-by-side, which was reverse, clunk, forward, clunk, reverse, and then reverse can be hard to find sometimes. This is very dead simple with the little rocker switch. That's something I could see other brands probably adopting as well. I really, really like it. Now, there is one thing with the shifter, though, that I really don't like, and that's the fact that it's broken. Guys, this happened to us about a week ago. That one screw right there goes into the plastic and that holds the shifter. So you got to imagine this shifter's living its life like this, down, up. And especially on the up, you end up kind of pulling up on it. And one day I was shifting. To me, it felt totally normal. I went up and that popped right off of there. So luckily it's still working, but definitely a little bit frustrating with the quality on that. So when it comes to the powertrain, this thing's obviously very different, but when it comes to the four-wheel drive system, it's the same as every other Polaris Ranger. That means that it is Polaris's on-demand four-wheel drive. So basically, if this thing starts to slip, it should send the power exactly where it needs to go. Now, these are our offset mounds. This is the small set. I'm not sure we're even really gonna need or have much wheel spin here. No, basically nothing. But now we'll go through the big set, and we should definitely be lifting some tires here. Yeah, right about here. Wow. So, I mean, no slip right there. That was really good. I mean, it was even lifting tires, which is what's supposed to happen in that section. And even with the tire off the ground, it kind of felt like it was fully locked. It got the power exactly where it needed to be with zero drama whatsoever. No wheel spin that I felt at all. So really nice, Ranger. Alrighty, folks. Now we're hitting the trail here in the Ranger Kinetic. Let's see if it's any fun. I've got it in sport mode. Let's go. And it absolutely flies. Like, it's insane. Look, even my camera couldn't take it. Yeah, the way that power hits is crazy. Now, what's sort of interesting, it's not sort of a really, really hard initial hit. It actually almost feels like it rolls the power on itself. And then once the machine feels like you got a bit of traction, you got a bit of momentum, then you feel the rush of power. It's, yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous because EVs, they can put 100% of their torque to the wheels from zero. That's always going to be their biggest competitive advantage, or one of their biggest advantages is just how much power can be delivered at such a low speed. And this feels that way too. If you're a speed freak, if you're just an enthusiast and you just want to have fun, I cannot believe that anyone will ever be disappointed with this amount of power. And then on the Ranger side, I mean, I've reviewed, many Ranger XPs before, and this one feels the same. And that is to say, plenty of suspension travel. We're in a world where our utility side-by-sides are actually quite fun, and this Ranger is maybe at the top of that list. This is the kind of thing that I could work with all week and then actually take to a trail on the weekend and have a ton of fun with it. And that can't be said for every utility unit out there, but this is definitely one of those. And the XP just ratchets that excitement up because of the power delivery. And then I've mentioned it once, but it has to be mentioned again. It's quiet. It's crazy how quiet it is. It's crazy that when I was hauling all that weight with the rubber mats, that's when an engine usually is in low range, so you're getting high revs at slow speeds. It sounds like the vehicle's doing something. This thing did all that work absolutely silently, out in the mud, absolutely silently, creeping through the woods, absolutely silent. See, I found myself, naturally I start to get loud and start to yell, but with this thing, I don't have to, because there's no engine sound I'm competing with. If you are somebody who loves nature, this is going to disturb it that much less. Hey, maybe you're a hunter, you want to get out into the woods and not scare off all the deer. This is going to do that too. So, there's really something quite incredible about getting out here in the silence. And what's interesting to me, because we talk about and think about this stuff a lot, it's incredible today in 2025 because I have a lifetime of experiences of coming out onto these trails in this forest with some engine screaming away in front of me or behind me. So for me, it's unbelievable. In 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years, and especially call it 50 years, I think people are going to be looking at old machines and going, how the heck did you ever live with such a loud machine? So right now, EVs are still new, and I know a lot of people don't like them, but this is one of the things I think most people are going to grow not only to enjoy, but to expect from their vehicles. And then all of a sudden, every single gas-powered vehicle is going to feel ancient. We're not there yet, but I'm telling you, that is going to be the future. So of course, I do need to talk about sort of the electric side of things, and that's where a couple more problems pop up. No doubt, the range here is going to be a limiting factor. I mentioned that you might want to take this for a fun ride. Well, your fun ride's not going to be very long because the odds that you can ride to a level 2 charger aren't that big. No trail system has been built, around EV chargers, so you're going to have to do that research yourself and find out where there is one. You're not going to bring power with you unless you're hauling your own generator, and that kind of defeats the purpose of this thing. So yes, for a fun trail ride, you're very limited in how far you can go. But then flip the usage case to actually a family like mine. We own, over 60 acres. This is our cottage, so it's a seasonal property. There's always jobs to be done here around the property, moving leaves, moving firewood, whatever the job may be. And that's where something all electric is going to be perfect because we don't go very far. In fact, we've had this Ranger for the better part of 2 months and we've never plugged it in. We've never needed to charge it. I'm at 38% battery now, so we're getting there. But yeah, we don't use it that much. And I do think a lot of people are like us. They have a machine around a piece of property. It doesn't go that far. It doesn't work that hard. And then it just sits there most of the time. So yeah, I think for the right usage case, and this is the same for our on-road electric vehicles, for electric trucks too. In the right usage case, this thing is perfect. It is the perfect tool for some jobs. Some people get mad because they want it to be the perfect tool for all jobs, kind of like gasoline is now. Well, that is not the case here. But if your usage case is correct, I think you'll absolutely love this Ranger Kinetic. Now, I do have one more quality issue to complain about, sadly, and I guess I should point out this is a 2023 model we're in right here, so it has been out there in the world for a bit of time now. It's been used by other outlets, so I'm not the first person to get it, so I can never speak to what happened, previously. But yeah, I showed you the bed problem. That one was definitely us. I'm owning that one. I showed you the shifter that broke. That wasn't great, and it could have already been maybe a bit broken when we got it. But then the other thing which is weird is I mentioned we haven't plugged it in. Now, that is true that we haven't charged it, but it wasn't actually by choice. I did try to charge it, and I could not get it to charge. Now, I've experienced this with some other EVs before, an F-150 Lightning, for example. We had one, and it kept telling me it didn't like my plug. It just kept saying, no, I won't charge off that plug. So then we moved it around, found another plug, and it charged right away. So when I plugged the Ranger into that same plug, and it also said, hey, I don't like your plug, I was like, okay, well, let's try another plug. Nope, another plug. Nope. We tried 5 different plugs all around our house. We tried extension cables, no extension cables, everything I could think of, and I could not get this thing to charge. So I'm assuming it's some kind of an internal fault, either in the charger or in the charge port maybe. If it is a problem with my plugs, then it is extremely sensitive, because I know I have charged other road-going EVs off their plugs, so why would this be any different? And Polaris doesn't give you that information. The machine doesn't say, hey, the limiting factor here is the plug, or the limiting factor is the connection or the cable. It just says, nope, we can't charge, issue detected, we're not doing that. So that's been a little bit annoying as well. Now, of course, I don't own this unit. In fact, I'm going to go return it to Polaris with about 20% battery left probably, and then they're going to have to figure it out. But if you're an owner, especially if you're out on a ride and you're counting on it to work, oh man, that is very frustrating. Especially when you know that the gas Ranger, well, you carry a jerry can, and it's never going to say, hey, we won't accept any gasoline, because you know it goes in the tank. So that has been frustrating too. And yeah, so now at the end of this, day of riding this thing and months of using it, I'm conflicted. I love some things about it, and then, I really dislike some things about it. On the positive side, the quiet, the torque, the power, the suspension, the way it rides, those things are all great. And then on the downside, yeah, for this much money, the quality should be better, and it's just not. And by now, of course, you're saying, how much money? Well, let me go over the pricing right now. And we'll start with the US. So the Ranger XP Kinetic starts at $29,999 in the States. And the Ultimate model, like you saw in this video, will sell for $37,499, which is still pretty expensive, but not quite as aggressive as in Canada, where the base Kinetic sells for $39,069, and the Kinetic Ultimate, like you saw in the video, sells for 48,169 Canadian dollars. And now, folks, time for the top speed run. Let's see what this thing can do. I've got it in sport mode, just in turf mode. Here we go, taking off. There you have it. That was 90 kilometers per hour, and it was definitely limited. Once it hit 90, I could just feel the powertrain go, okay, that's all we're doing. So yes, 90 kilometers per hour, top speed here on the Ranger Kinetic. Well, folks, we are coming to the end of this one, and you've really seen everything about this unit now, the good, the bad, and the broken. And now, of course, I need to hear from you. So why don't you drop in the comments, let me know what you think of this Polaris Ranger Kinetic. Hey, would you ever buy one? Please let me know. And then as always, while you're down below leaving that comment, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join, become a member of our channel, and then come right back here to TK Power Sports and see what we're testing next. See ya.